So welcome everyone to another Around the Block talk. Today we have with us Mr. Prabir Mishra, and he's an industry veteran and he's had a very amount of experience leading in leadership roles of various industries and particularly blockchain projects as well. He's the founder and CEO of TRST01. It is a multi-chain blockchain platform which provides blockchain solutions on agriculture, food traceability, connected supply chain, document identity, and solutions for fintech. And this particular platform is then combined with other emerging technology, and it works on flexible protocols for business use cases and achieving their objectives. So thank you very much, Mr. Prabir Mishra, for joining us today. We're very excited for what you have to present to us today. And so the topic for the talk today is carbon credit tokenization. So just a little bit brief about it. So carbon credit is basically a system developed to ensure that the amount of carbon emissions being released in the atmosphere are limited. And these are then traded in the open market as assets, which allow various industries to use these credits to emit more carbon or less carbon. So with that, I will hand it over to Mr. Prabir Mishra, and you can start with the talk.
Thank you, Pratik. Thank you for that swift introduction. So yes, as you rightly said, carbon credits are the kind of a reward mechanism provided to the people who help in reducing the carbon dioxide level in the whole atmosphere. So these are the kind of a credit which the polluter means the companies who produce carbon dioxide by their main act. Let's say Microsoft is doing a big service because of the computer evolution, or the Amazon, or these kind of things. We are here, we are interacting, but again, by this act, we are producing a lot of carbon dioxide to the air, because ultimately energy is required to run this kind of a show. So the carbon, so they have to offset this carbon dioxide. So the world is moving towards a carbon neutrality. That means by year 2050, the world bodies of 185 countries have agreed to bring their discharge level and the sequestration level. Sequestration means what you observe to the ground, to a kind of a status that there will be zero excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So that is how the whole world is going to move. And in November 2021, COP26 underlined certain measures to create those activities. So those measures are being, you do some sort of a activity as a absorption of carbon, like you do a sustainable agriculture. So you discharge less methane, absorb 3 to 5 metric ton of carbon dioxide from atmosphere. So you, as a farmer, is getting reward of that carbon credit as a token. So what we are trying to do out here, first and foremost thing, what we are trying to do, the data, what you are doing a sustainable practice by which you are absorbing carbon dioxide, we want to put it on the blockchain. So the moment you say that it's put into a blockchain, you are arriving a truth or the single version of data reliability. Now that data reliability is going to give rise to you some sort of a carbon credits. So those carbon credits, when you got verified and certified, we tokenize that. The moment we tokenize that, we are making an asset, digital asset, which is backed by a real asset called as a carbon credit tokens. So these tokens can be traded. This token can be directly bought by this company like Microsoft. To your surprise, let me tell you, last year 2020, the Microsoft was asked to buy around 11 million carbon tokens approximately. Similarly, Amazon was supposed to buy around 55 million carbon credits. But again, where you got a reliable data? So this is that, well, globally, people are getting the data into blockchain, creating tokens, and tokens are, creating carbon credits, and carbon credits are tokenized to provide you a 100% reliable, those authenticated carbon credit certificates. So this is the practice what we are into and what we are doing. So this is in a nutshell. Yes, we are putting the carbon sequestration data or the package of practice into blockchain. Also, we once this certified and create some tokens, we are going to put those tokens in credits. We are going to put those credits into carbon tokens, NFT. And the moment these carbon tokens are bought by companies like Microsoft or Amazon, it will get burned. That means the objective is getting fulfilled. That's how we do.
Right, sir. So, sir, what are the problems do you see in the existing system that a blockchain system will be able to solve? What are those exact pain points?
So there is a very specific 8-point things what we have identified. One is that your data reliability, data duplication. So there used to be a lot of data duplication used to happen. There is data reliability was in a bigger question mark. Then the complete process mapping was not in a kind of a robust process. So those are the things what we take, and we make the complete thing as a pretty simple, and pretty simple. There is no regulatory hurdle or there is no process block, and the total transaction happens in a seamless environment whereby a token can be bought from a wallet to another wallet in a fraction of seconds. Moreover, that the time of total audit and total completion of the carbon credit is getting reduced significantly because data is already available in the blockchain. Now, data duplicacy was the biggest challenge in carbon credit, which is going to be stopped by once we put into the blockchain.
Sure, sure. And sir, so this product that you're building right now, so sir, how do you make sure that it is interoperable and so there is a wide-scale adoption for this? How does that happen?
So when you talk about carbon credit and when you talk about sustainability or eco-friendly, or you can say the carbon neutrality, the biggest challenge is that to find out a proper protocol or the proper technology. Now the challenge is that, as you say, blockchain, the generation 1 blockchain or the layer 1 blockchain, what I used to say, they used to take a lot of power. So just to give an example, you have to consume 238 kilowatt of energy itself to mine one Ethereum token. Now you can't talk of creating an environment where you are doing carbon credit and you use this kind of a high energy guzzlers as your protocol or the technology behind that. So there are some protocols which are evolving. So protocols like Ripple, protocols like Polygon, protocols like Rubik's and Ocean protocol, all these new protocol, newest protocol, they use a very less energy. In fact, some of the protocols are having carbon negative also. So we are trying to get into this kind of a protocol to design our product. Now there is something also we are looking for, chain link or kind of a parachain kind of a thing where we can migrate from one place to other place on the protocol side. That is, interoperability is possible, data being on the parachain. So these are the technology evolution what we are looking for. But most crucial thing is that to find out a suitable protocol for your project, because you are talking of carbon and you are talking of natural energy, less energy, you are talking of carbon neutrality. So that's the crucial thing out here, finding out a proper protocol. And we are in the process, we are talking to a lot of people. We may be evolving around a couple of protocol where we will be connecting, we're discussing with them, connecting with our product and placing our product.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, also, do you see there's a one point of failure could be when the data is being recorded onto the blockchain. So, how do we make sure that data is authentic when it travels from the real world onto the blockchain?
Yeah, see, that's how the trick is. Whole game plan is that we are starting our data acquisition from the very basic from the ground zero. So talk about some sustainable agriculture practice, or talk about some sort of a solid municipal solid waste treatment plant, recycling water. We get into the very fast, taking the data from the very basic level for the agriculture. When you're talking of methane as a carbon, controlling the methane. So we are getting into the getting into the farmer demography, recording that data about his identity, about his land document, about geofencing the complete land. Then we start mapping the package of practice from the farm activity, and whatever the deviation from the major package of practice, those get recorded, and prescribed package of practice, if there is a bigger deviation, then those get recorded, then it gets analyzed and eligible for the carbon credit. So what we are doing, we have got a program, and we have, those are kind of a program on a smartphone or a tablet. Right now we are using Samsung A7 tablets to tabs to acquire those data, and those data get acquired through a tab device, which is again secured by Knox, one of the Samsung's proprietary digital, you can say, the solution where data can't be manipulated. Then the geofencing is done. The data only can be acquired when you get into that geolocation. The temperature, the other parameter like the time and longitude, latitude, everything got recorded. And we're trying to minimize the minimum human error out here, so the data points get acquired. Now, this is the present time what we're doing. Future, the IoT data, IoT devices are going to communicate with the tab devices to send the data and record the data in real time. The future is that what we are also thinking of, this data, land data, whatever we acquire data, that is to be mapped with satellite remote sensing data. Then you create a authentic data with a minimum deviation. So we are we're focusing more on the data side and really innovating the data acquisition portion to provide a near to 100% accuracy in our data. Then the things are going to be working in a different, then you create a value out here. So the data acquisition from the very basic level, from ground zero level, and from the zero point is most crucial, and we are working on that. In fact, we have already started capturing many of the data points from ground, and we are working on 100,000 hectares of sustainable agriculture in 3 different projects. In fact, right now we are working there.
Right, sir. That sounds great. And so also technologically, when you adopt, say, a protocol like you mentioned, Polygon or another protocol, what do you have to do to mold it for the use case of carbon tokenization? How do you bridge that gap?
No, see, the first protocol choice is that our first criteria is that it should have a very minimum energy use protocol. So once we choose that, then we send our data. See, there are 2 things are happening out here. One is the data acquisition. Second thing is the smart contract piece and the NFT token creation. So right now we are thinking that, okay, both the protocol can be different, both the technology can be different. So we may have some sort of a private protocol to record our data, maybe some public, we have to go for public protocol to create those tokens and NFT. So protocol wise, we want to fix it up on the flexibility, how robust can be the smart contract piece written on that if you are creating some sort of a tokens. And for the data acquisition, if you are looking for right now we are acquiring obviously with the Hyperledger Fabric, but we are keeping our option open whether we can put into some sort of a public network or the public protocol also. So that's how we are doing right now. Yes, choice of protocol is pretty critical, and it can't be the first and foremost parameter is that it should be very carbon neutral or a carbon negative protocol. That's what we are looking for. Yes, I forgot to mention you this protocol near what we are also evaluated. In fact, we have created some tokens out there using near protocol, and that's a kind of a certified carbon neutral protocol. So similarly, we are talking to Rubik's. They are also a carbon neutral protocol. So that's how we the first and foremost criteria is beyond something is that yes, it should be energy efficient protocol or a negative or a carbon zero protocol. That's what you're looking for.
Right. And so also when this is implemented, so carbon credit as an asset, it becomes more liquid. It becomes more trustworthy. So do you see the value of that asset increasing because of this? And how does the economy change?
Yeah, that is the whole idea out here. I'll give you a simple example. Recently, some of the carbon credit tokens are available on NFT, non-fungible as an NFT. Those values has gone up to 4 times of what is the normal carbon credit values. Yes, that's the pointer, and that's why we are in the business. We are going to create that sort of a trustworthiness in the whole ecosystem. And obviously, once you provide a complete trustworthiness in the ecosystem, the value is going to go up. So that's what we are looking for. Value has to go up. And because of the value has not gone up because of there is a mistrust element on the whole ecosystem. Right now, you are providing through blockchain solution 100% digital asset with a backed by solid real asset values and having a robust data structure nobody can question. So that's the idea. That's the way we are getting into that.
Right. And sir, as a company, as a firm who is developing this infrastructure, so what is your business model and how do you operate and how do you benefit from this?
So we are going to benefit out of that, what you call it, additional value realization. So because of our technology, if we are adding certain value, we'll be parting about that value. So that's the simplest model what we can think it of. Yes, carbon credits are sold for X. Now, if it is getting sold for 4X, because it's a blockchain and it's a digital asset, then we are going to derive the value from that 4X. So from that 3X. So that's how our business model is that, yes. So in this model, what we believe that first you create value, then expect value. That's the economic model. That's the model that's the principle what we adopt. First you give value to the whole ecosystem, then you expect your value. Obviously, we know that we'll get our value once we provide a bigger value to the whole ecosystem on carbon tokens, carbon credits.
Right. Right. So, sir, there must be other players globally working on the similar problem. So, how do you see collaborating with them or competing with them? How does that work?
So yeah, there are so many players. There are already around 10, in excess of 10 carbon tokens are available in the whole ecosystem. Yes, we want to work with everyone. We are working with carbon aggregator. We are working with carbon certifier. We are working with auditors. We are working with the registry. So we are working with everybody. And see, we want to play on the data side. We don't want to get into the carbon credit. Because of the pain on the data reliability, the market has collapsed. Now we want to revive that market. Yes, the demand for carbon credit is going to go up dramatically and huge. And by end of 2030, the market opportunity, what we foresee around a 400 to $650 billion opportunity. So yeah, it is going to go strengthening more and more. So the data is going to be very crucial and important, and blockchain technology is going to be very, very crucial for this transformation.
Right. So one technical side of the question. So you mentioned there are 10 players, and so let's assume each player is able to capture some amount of the market. And so how does all this become interoperable? How does this become one ecosystem?
So that is still a miles to go. So see, everybody is working on their kind of a philosophy, their kind of a technology evolution. So interoperability from one player to other player may not be feasible, but again, in the one player scenario, yes, data can be interoperated from one protocol to other protocol. But again, see the carbon credit, what we are talking of. So it's a kind of a, right now it's being treated as a kind of a either voluntary a offset or some sort of a regulatory offset, right? Now, once that offset, regulatory offset is getting forced and you have to buy this many kind of carbon credits from the open market, instead of buying those raw carbon credits, you can buy the tokenized carbon credit, which is going to give you a complete value. So that's how the things are going to get changed. And the more focus is on the design element, more focus is on the tradability element. Now, before the carbon credit get acquired by the final destination, let's say the big corporates, whether we can add on certain value, whether we can add on certain, what you say, additional value in way of trader or in way of investment opportunity, that is what we are looking for. So it's a product what you can buy and keep it and trade it later to the Microsoft when there is a demand, then you create a value. So those sort of a opportunity as a trading instrument is going to come up, and this market is going to evolve. And that's how various company, the design element, how you are designing, what is your robustness of your product, whether it's currently the sustainable agriculture and the agroforestry carbon credits are highly valuable, whether and what sort of a carbon credit you are creating, whether that's kind of additionality, whether that's kind of a energy driven, the renewable energy driven, whether that's kind of a solid waste or the water driven. So these are the various things. It's a kind of a various productization is going to come in the whole credit. It's not that one carbon credit equals to something. There could be n number of different carbon credits, n number of different carbon tokens are going to come. So these are the things which the market is going to get evolved, and the more versatility is going to give a more opportunity, obviously, in this space.
Also, in terms of the legality, so are the governments right now willing to accept blockchain tokens as legal tenders? Are they, or is that opinion divided in various governments?
See, government right now, nothing clear about the carbon credit tokens, but government right now, when you talk about a token out of blockchain or a cryptocurrency, they're charging 30% tax. So if a carbon token is going to make 4x of your profitability, then there's absolutely no issues on that 30% tax. So if there is a value realization of 30%, so today, in fact, I was reading through Economic Times, they say that now as an investment opportunity for the crypto or the carbon tokens is going to come up in a bigger way, right? Now, because you look for, if you're looking for a multiple return, 30% tax is nothing, right? But again, if you're trying to do a kind of a trade-off or the trading or a portfolio trading approach, every day take buying and selling, that is going to get limited. So what we are creating, we're creating a value. If the value realization is more than what is supposed to be, so paying tax should not be any issue. So rather it is going to incentivize and the investor or the HNI segment to buy some carbon tokens, keep it right now and trade it off when there is a demand.
Right. So there's also like institutional investing that happens into carbon credit. So with this new kind of token economy, how do you see that? Do you see that increasing, or how do you see that institutional investing evolving?
Yeah, in fact, we are talking to the ecosystem aggressively, and there is a lot of interest. Lot means a lot of interest on creating tokens. We are connected with the registry, we are connected with the auditors, we are connected with the, in fact, the policymakers. We are meeting with them and defining. There is a lot of interest. See, the revolution, what is done from your share certificate, I would say, and a paper-based share certificate to dematerialization, the same thing is going to happen from the carbon credit. Rather, it's in a kind of different way. it's a kind of a bigger way, because you are talking of a digital asset which is backed by a solid project or solid real-time assets. So that's how it is going to create a bigger impact. Yes, there is a lot of interest. Whomsoever we are talking in the ecosystem, they are excited about this project.
Right. So there's certainly a very big opportunity to be realized over here, I believe.
Right.
So, in addition to the carbon tokens, so is your firm also working on similar projects of tokenization? And what are your plans?
Yes, we have started working on a couple of bigger opportunities, and on the loyalty points and the tokenization on the real value creator tokenization art side, on the art and craft side. So those are the things what we are getting into. But again, our focus will be more on the real asset-backed tokenization rather than any kind of a digital creativity getting into token. So maybe people, yesterday I was in a seminar, they called me, it could be an old school thought process, but that's how we'll be there. We'll be, but again, it should be backed by some sort of a real asset-backed things, what do we want to get into tokenization.
Right. So, and so in the newer future, do you see many more these assets coming on blockchain and coming on as tokens?
Sorry, can you repeat that question, please?
In the near term future, do you see many more of these assets being represented more and more on tokens?
Yeah. See, this space is going to get, you can say, the kind of a reconciliation where the real things are going to emerge in a bigger way, rather than you just think of some app or some monkey or some digital art kind of a thing. It's going to get formed into a bigger. The consolidation is bound to happen, and it's going to happen in a very soon.
Sure. So with that, thank you very much for giving us your time and your thoughts on this particular project. So I would just ask the audience if someone has a question. So I believe we can close for today.
Thank you.
And it was certainly very good to speak with you, sir, and an insightful talk. We will release this on our social channels as well, and we'll let you.
Thank you, Pratik. Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for attending.